What if I told you that the dinner Kim Kardashian and her daughter North had in Rome wasn't just about pasta, wine, and sightseeing? What if I told you that one simple night out may have just set off a firestorm that dragged Kanye West, Kris Jenner, and the entire Kardashian playbook right back into the spotlight? Because that's exactly what happened. One outfit, one appearance, and suddenly everyone is asking, has Kim started pushing North down the same path that launched and haunted the Kardashian empire? And more importantly, was Kanye West right all along? The drama began the second Kim and her 12-year-old daughter North touched down in Rome. Paparazzi swarmed them like bees to honey, cameras flashing endlessly as the mother-daughter duo made their way to dinner. But this wasn't just about a celebrity sighting. All eyes were on North, who stepped out in a black corset-style top, massive platform boots, and long blue braids cascading down her back. The look screamed high fashion, runway, but she's just 12, and that's where the internet exploded. Comment sections lit up instantly. "Why is a child in a bustier?" one user wrote. Others begged, "Let her be a kid. Stop rushing her into adulthood." The backlash was loud, fast, and fierce. People couldn't shake the feeling that they'd seen this movie before. A Kardashian, teen-styled in outfits meant for a grown woman. Cameras capturing every angle and a family ready to spin the headlines into gold. Fans immediately drew comparisons between North's look and the early days of Kylie Jenner, who at a similar age was already experimenting with heavy makeup and appearances that blurred the line between childhood and adulthood. Critics called it déjà vu. To them, it looked like the Kardashians were grooming the next generation for the same machine that consumed Kim and Kylie. And that machine, according to Kanye West, was always his worst nightmare. Because here's where the Rome dinner morphs into something much bigger. Everyone remembers Kanye's infamous meltdowns back in 2020, when he blasted Kim, Kris Jenner, and the entire Kardashian system. In one of his most viral rants, Kanye swore, "I put my life on God, that North's mom would never photograph her doing Playboy." It wasn't just about one photo shoot. It was about a pattern. Kanye accused Kris of pushing Kim into Playboy, then steering Kylie into the same spotlight, and he made it his mission to ensure North never followed that path. To him, it wasn't a mistake. It was a toxic family tradition. He claimed he was the only one willing to stand in the way. During those meltdowns, Kanye compared his life with Kim to the horror movie Get Out, saying he felt trapped, controlled, and manipulated into playing a role while his children were being groomed as brand pawns. He tweeted that Kim tried to lock him up with doctors because he cried about protecting his daughters. He dropped bombshell after bombshell, calling Kris Jong-un, and warning everyone that if he didn't fight, North would become the next face of the empire. At the time, many dismissed him as unstable. But now, with North's Rome photos going viral, people are starting to ask if Kanye's rants weren't paranoia at all, but prophecy. The tension only grew when Kanye revealed he wanted to pull his kids out of traditional schools entirely. He built his own private school, Donda Academy, insisting it was the only way to protect them from the Kardashian influence and a culture he believed would chew them up. In his eyes, education, spirituality, and environment had to be controlled if North and her siblings were ever going to be safe. And when he texted Kris Jenner directly, "Don't let Kris make you do Playboy like she did Kylie and Kim. Not going to happen to North in Chicago." The matriarch finally snapped back, begging him to stop dragging her name. But Kanye never let up. He framed it as a war, not just a disagreement. And here's the twist that makes this even messier. Kim herself has admitted she never wanted to do Playboy in the first place. She was nervous and uncomfortable, but Kris convinced her, telling her to go for it before the opportunity disappeared. That photo shoot, of course, became the foundation of the Kardashian empire. But years later, Kim admitted it was one of her biggest regrets. To Kanye, that was proof. Proof that Kris was willing to push her own daughters past their comfort zones for fame. Proof that North was at risk of the same fate. But before we crown Kanye the hero, let's rewind. because he hasn't always been consistent either. Back in 2013, reports claimed Kanye was supportive of Kim posing for Playboy again. He was also the mastermind behind some of her most hypersexualized looks: the Mugler wet dress, the break the internet moments, the iconography of Kim as the ultimate sex symbol. Kanye built part of the very image he now criticizes. And by 2019, when Kim wore that iconic Met Gala look, Kanye suddenly told her he didn't want her dressing too sexy anymore. Fans called him controlling, pointing out the hypocrisy. He helped create the image, then turned around and tried to police it. And now, with his new wife, Bianca Consori, styled by Kanye himself, walking around half-dressed in barely there outfits, the double standard has become impossible to ignore. So yes, Kanye has contradictions, but does that erase his warnings about North? That's where the public is split. One half calls Kanye a hypocrite who rewrites history. The other half says, hypocrisy aside, he's not wrong about North. Because the truth is, North is 12. She's a kid. And whether you think Kim is just letting her express herself, or whether you believe Kris is already pulling the strings, the fact is, North's childhood is being lived under a microscope. Every hairstyle, every outfit, every public appearance becomes headline fodder. And the fear that she's being robbed of her innocence, pushed into a spotlight she never asked for. Some fans argue this is just fashion fun. North idolizes her mom, experiments with style, and loves the cameras. But critics counter that nothing about this is normal. Most kids can try on a bold outfit without it becoming international news. North doesn't have that luxury. And what looks like innocent fashion play to some, looks like exploitation to others. Especially when you put it next to the Kardashian history of using fame as currency. So what should have been a casual dinner in Rome has now spiraled into a full-on cultural debate. Is Kim just letting her daughter shine? Or is she repeating the very same cycle Kris set in motion decades ago? Is Kanye a protective father with foresight? Or a hypocrite using North to fuel his endless war with Kim? And the saddest part of all, North herself has no say in any of this. She's not just growing up in front of cameras. She's growing up in the middle of one of Hollywood's ugliest family feuds. Every step she takes, every outfit she wears, becomes evidence in a battle she never asked to fight. And that's the question haunting everyone right now. Will North become the next Kardashian brand star? Or will she be the one to finally break the cycle? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain. This story is far from over. Thanks for watching Famespills. Don't forget to hit subscribe because we drop daily celebrity drama you won't want to miss. Turn on the notification bell so you're always the first to know when the next spill hits. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Kim is pushing North too far? Or is Kanye just stirring chaos again? We'll see you in the next one, right here on Famespills.